Today we have a 2002 Mazda Millenia, and today's project is a little involving. And basically, the job that we're going to attempt to do today is to take the intake manifold, and here are the bolts. Quite a few, I believe there are 12, 4 nuts, a lot of wires, a lot of vacuum hoses. I do have a vacuum leak here that makes this car run a little lean and poor rough idling. I've done this job in my other 626, and this one is pretty similar to it. As you can see, the neck for the throttle body is angled compared to the 626. It's straight. Batteries in the wrong locate. Well, it's a different position. It's not wrong. And to all this, I'm trying to pursue the project to take the leaky rear valve cover gasket, and it's leaking. And the reason why actually I noticed was one time I opened the hood. I forgot for what. But anyways, I saw a little bit of smoke. And looking at it, as you can see, there is somewhat of a leak. Now, for many of you, you're going to say that I do not have the EGR tubing on. And that is correct. It is not on. And it was a real pain. And you know what? To take out. This actually goes or threads into the exhaust manifold. And I'm going to pursue and I'm going to coat it with anti-seize. The nut is over there. The tube is flared. That nut size is a 23. And I couldn't have done this job without the guidance of Pete's Garage. And the attempt and the success and victory of this video, I want to dedicate it to Pete's Garage. He actually took out his time to actually answer my questions. He was pretty dead on my approach on this, and it worked. And basically, I had soaked it with PB Blaster, and I tried and I tried it, and it just wouldn't budge. It just wouldn't. And I was about to take it to the shop for to have one of the guys over there shoot it with heat, and this can be a little intimidating. Look how much space you have in here. You really do not have much. This is the wrench, and as you can see here, the leverage it's not much. You have to find a perfect angle. I actually had one at the bottom of the vehicle, and the angle is funny. And it can be done from the bottom of the vehicle, but if you have it jacked up or if you have it on a lift, so much easier. Take Pete's advice. Soak it. Soak it with PB Blaster. Be patient. I wasn't. And I soaked it, and it didn't budge. I tried, I would say, a week after. I took Pete's advice, and I took it out. You may not be so lucky. You may actually need to apply heat. And the reason why I am trying or I need to take this out is because if you do see, it attaches to the intake manifold right there. All this needs to come off for me to actually repair, remove, and exchange the rear valve cover gasket. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I'll try to link in the description the tools that I'm using, but just ahead of time, I believe those are 12 millimeter bolts, nuts as well, harnesses, quite a few. Just again, keep an eye on them. I do need to replace that fuel tubing. That is, I believe I believe it measures the temperature of the coolant temperature sensor. If I'm not mistaken, this goes to the crankshaft position sensor. You need to remove the 3 spark plug tubes. PCV has to come off. This has to come off. If yours is broken, this is a good opportunity to actually change it or address it. Get some light here. Remove the battery terminal. Put the car to sleep. Many of you remember the starter that I replaced in this car. This basically will have to be pushed, and as you can see here, maybe not so great, but this pin right here basically slides out, and you can free up the throttle body cable. The bracket's right here. You may actually have to take the bracket out so you can have a little bit of a slack to take this out, but you'll be okay. This bracket has to come off, and again, all these bolts are 10 millimeters except for the runners for the intake manifold. Don't fight with it. Be prepared that some of your vacuum hoses may be a little brittle, crusty. So just remember to have spare ones. These are 1/8. And a quickly overview, just in case you have to take everything off. I believe this is a shutter valve. Be careful with it. This tip can break. And again, just follow it. It comes to this solenoid. Connector is white. Same thing here, another solenoid. Connector is black, and it goes to this guy right here. It's another shutter valve. Basically, you're gonna remove the harnesses out. EGR, perfect time to actually take it out and see if you need a cleaning. It's going to get to you down the road. I'm actually having a hard time with the Mazda 626 EGR. PO400. I'm going to take you along, and it's going to be a series of videos. And basically, since I'm having all this out, I'm going to paint it. I don't know what color yet. I may actually just use all this metallic gray to make it all even. Since the car is black, I think it should look fine. What else? Your math. Make sure that it's clean since you're in here. Filter box. Make sure that it's clean. What else? Do not forget about this vacuum line. It goes under the plastic housing, and it goes somewhere back there. I can't see it. It just keeps on going. But yes, it's an easy removal, as you can see. You don't have to move the spark plug cables. This guy has to come off. You can take it off by taking this out. This tubing, you can leave it on. You can take it off from the PCV valve itself. You're going to have two gas lines. One here. And you should have that one right there with the big nut. You should have two washers in there, copper or metal. Make sure you have spare ones. The inner one, for some reason, well, it does follow gravity. Has a tendency of falling down, and if it does, again, keep an eye on it. Expect it. I will leave that for the very last. Put a rag at the bottom just to make sure that you can grab it, or put your hand under it, or just grab it. And when you take the fitting out of the gas line, you can just lift it up after you take the through bolt out, which is a banjo bolt, by the way. That's a gas regulator right there. And this should come up as a one piece. One thing for you guys that I'm going to let you know, although this right now may not be able to give you a good visual on it, but this Mazda has the infamous bracket that goes at the back of the manifold. There's a bolt in there, and there's a bolt over here that attaches to, I believe, the valve cover itself. You can't see it. I believe if you follow my other video on the 626, you will see that I took mine out. I really don't miss it. It's not really there. But just in case you're meticulous and you want to put it back, I'll try to show you on this particular intake how to put it on. So be mindful of that. On this one, I am going to put it on. And we're going to take this job on. Once again, Pete's Garage. Sorry, I do not know your last name, but thank you for the info. Uh, couldn't have asked for a better help than you, and you put me right on track. Thank you. All right, so far we have broken loose the bolts for the intake manifold. And word of caution is make sure you have a magnet or you have a magnetized socket that you can take them out, because even in my other video or my other jobs on the 626, they have actually fallen in there. And you do not want to have a nut or a bolt or anything to actually fall inside of the intake manifold ports inside of the block and put yourself in a situation where you can't really take them out or it's uncomfortable. Basically, if you can avoid it, much better. These are uncomfortable. My hands are not able to get in there, but again, take a magnet and take them out. These are 12 millimeter, by the way, and reach them. These are not so bad. I just find it somewhat painful, and I guess I do have bad luck that when I take the back nuts, they actually fall in the radiator pipe. It's not radiator pipe, I'm sorry. It's the coolant pipe that is in there. So I'm taking this off, and it may actually stay in there. And as you can see, it fell, like right off the bat. So just be careful. Have two set of magnets. This one is my big one, or a thick head, and also have a thin one, just in case you have one of those narrow places that you cannot take them. Do that. Also, I like to do this. Just in case. And take it out. An observation area, an area to observe here is this one. It has a ground strap. Make sure you remember to put it back, and you do have one back there. So let's go ahead and continue to do that. Take that out. Like I said to you guys before, I broke them loose. And if you can leave them like that, that's fine. Grab them with a magnet. Try not to shake the car because they will fall. And last but not least, this one I did not break loose. I will verify with you guys later about the torque specs for these runners. I believe they are the same for the 626, 15 to 17 foot-pounds. I will double check or post them at the bottom of the video. All right. If you keep on spinning and you hear that knocking sound, basically means it's all the way out. All right. So I can't take it out, but it will stay there. All right, basically you would say the intake manifold is completely off, and you're partially right. However, that gasoline line, that fitting is solid, and that would not let you lift this whole thing as one. So again, good areas of opportunity here to maintain your vehicle if you're doing this type of job is PCV valve. This is a good area of opportunity here to replace. I replaced mine when I first bought the vehicle. I actually have a thing for PCV valves, and I replaced it right away. I believe it was $10 at Auto, so it shouldn't be that much at your local store. So, where I'm going to take out the harnesses soon for the injectors. You have one for bank one, and you have the second one for the second bank. Uh, you have the sensor here for the throttle body. Squeeze and pull. Hose it out. This may be a little stiff on you guys, so just be careful. And it's hard to do this with the phone at the same time. So I'm gonna do this off camera, but as you can see, guys, just squeeze and pull, two of them. Okay. This tube right here is fighting already with me, and I can feel it's already brittle. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna trace it, and it comes back here, and it does come off, which is good. And this one, we trace it, it goes back to the fuel regulator. Why? By pulling it and they're already brittle, you might actually create a vacuum leak and create more problems for you. But if you do happen to break them, go to your auto store or Mazda or whatever brand you're working on, and they sell this at Mazda. I bought it for 18 bucks, and basically just cut what you need and replace it. So far, I seem to notice that that's the only size Mazda I use for this car, except for, of course, the bigger ones. But so far, I only see two sizes for this type of vehicle: the 1/8 and whatever this one is. I haven't measured it yet, but you get the gist. All right, so as you can see, it's already loose. So I'm gonna take care of the rest, and I'll keep you guys updated on the next clip. All right, quickly here for you guys. That bracket you see right here, this loop, actually belongs to or goes through that bolt, which is again attaching the throttle body to the intake manifold. And as you can see, this part is ready to come apart. I have to take the throttle body cable out and the gasoline line. That's all I have left. Just wanted to take you along with that, guys. Check your air filter if you need it. If this boot is ripped like mine is, replace it. I called Mazda already. I'm going to be getting a phone call in a few days when the part arrives. This car was not originally mine, and this is the car that I always wanted. When I went to buy my first car here in the States, I saw this one, and I saw the 626, which is the one that I still own. And I was actually glad to find out that the owner of the dealer asked me, "Is this going to be your first car?" And I said yes. Now he told me, "You do not want the Millenia because it's going to give you problems." And I was a little persistent, and I told him, "But that's the car that I always wanted." And he tells me, "Well, it is a great car if you actually find it in a 2.5 engine." The one he was selling was in a 2.3 with a Miller engine, which basically has a supercharger. And those are known to be problematic. Oil consumption, oil burning. The chargers are extremely busy and extremely pricey. This car alone, without the non-Miller engine, the parts are expensive. The mounts are pricey. But I'm a firm believer that if you take care of your car, the car will take care of you. Some cars may require more love than others. Some cars will require more attention than others, but just keep that in mind. So let me go ahead and keep taking all that out, and I'll take you guys along. Before we pull the intake manifold out, quick reviews here. This hose can come off. This hose for me did not want to come off. It's like seized in there. I'll address that when I take the whole unit out. But you need to remove the other end of it here, which attaches to the brake booster right here. So that needs to come off. This guy right here, it looks to me that it comes from the charcoal canister in the back of the car. So just make sure that if it doesn't come off from this end, which it didn't for me, I'm trying to take it off from here, or make sure that it doesn't get tangled once you pull this whole unit up. This bracket had to come off. It's somewhere in here. And for those that are wondering, this is the EGR valve for the Millenia. And if I'm not mistaken, I've seen some 626 mid-90s or late 90s that basically they share the same type of style of the intake manifold. So maybe related. This is so far the progress that I've made on this intake manifold. If you happen to get yourself in a position like me where I'm trying to get this unit out, and you're having resistance, stop. See what you have, see what's holding you back, and address it. Do not pull, because you're going to break a harness, a vacuum hose, creating leaks later on, and it's going to be more headaches. This tube goes to the back of the rear valve cover. This is the infamous pesky nut that I was not able to get out. So we're going to address that as well. EGR. EGR goes back here. 2 bolts, 12 millimeters. I took them out. This is the EGR itself. I had recently taken it out and cleaned it. It looks pretty good. The runners, I'm not so happy about the runners. They are dirty. I am going to clean them, scrub them, get them as close as I can to almost new. So let me find out what's holding me back, and we'll go to the extra step. Before I cut the clip, let me take you along to what I have here so far. Did not forget to cover your ports. After removing the intake manifold, this is what we have left. One leaky gasket. So we're gonna go ahead in another video and proceed with the removal, cleaning, preparation, and installation of a new valve cover gasket. And so far, this is the only thing I was able to see. I'm going to get a vacuum and vacuum all this debris out of here. But basically, that's all I was able to see. That made me realize that I had a leaky intake manifold. And we're going to clean all that out. Just wanted to show you guys. Between my two cars, if you have been following this series of videos, this one was a more challenging one than my 626. Now, my 626, for some reason, it seemed more condensed. This one, not so much. It looks simpler, but it was just, again, an illusion. Now I see why all data would recommend 3 to 4 hours for this job to complete. To get to here, it was a lot of work. Harnesses out of the way, hoses, and even with that, I was fighting with harnesses and with a bolt. So when I take let's see if I can show you guys. Alright, so far I see the disgusting mess here, but so far I cannot find that where the bracket goes that holds the intake manifold. And I'm talking about this guy right here. So when I take the valve cover out, I'm going to take a closer look back there to see what we have, and I'll show you a general idea where it is. I was never able to see it. Basically, I just felt it out, took it out, and went on my way. I took a few components out of the intake manifold. This is one of them. If I'm not mistaken, that's that's a valve for the canister in the back for the gas tank. Sorry about the mess. This is what I have so far. It's primed, waiting for it to dry. I have given it 2 coats of paint. I'm gonna wait for a little bit. I'm gonna see how it dries because outside it's disgusting. And let me see how it dries. Just looking for areas where I didn't cover. And all I'm looking for here is surface paint. It was a little rusty. Well, it's seen better days. I did make a decision in what color I'm going to paint it, and it's the same color as the valve covers. And I'll show you the final product. I'm going to paint it, I'm going to prep it, and I'm going to order the gaskets. I believe they should be on their way. I order a lot of stuff. I'm not sure what I ordered. I know I ordered quite a few things, and I'm going to, of course, address them. Mostly for this car. This is a project car that I want to finish for summer 2017. And I'll take you along with it. Not much going on with this car. I bought it for $3,000, 90,000 miles. And the only thing that it had done was the timing belt at the dealer where I bought it from. So far, the only thing that I have to do is address those things, flush the fluid since I'm a little iffy about that, and of course, a decent sound system for me, not to be heard a mile away, but so far, that's what I want. I'll be cleaning it up. I have winter to start. It hasn't started yet. It is November 2016. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you like the series of videos. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Leave a comment. If you have questions about repairs about this video, I do have books about this car, a 626, or anything related to the KL engine. Thank you for tuning in. Pete's Garage, once again, thank you for helping me out. Without your tip, I wouldn't have gotten this far. So thank you much for the tip. I dedicate this video to you and the success to this project that I'm involving myself with, this intake manifold and leaky gasket. Thank you. And to everybody else that is watching and following this, thank you much for tuning in. Thanks for watching and giving me a little bit of your time. Have a good one.